Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. Several foreign missions in Juba have condemned the looting of 12 World Food Program boats in Ballet County, warning that the theft jeopardizes food security for approximately 73,000 people. Save the Children has reported that armed gangs have looted office and a local health center in Walgak Payam of Akobo County in Jonglei State amid a surge in violence that has displaced over 235,000 people in just 4 weeks. And members of the public have raised concerns over the registration of pupils for the 2026 academic year, citing unpaid civil servant salaries and a shortage of cash in commercial banks. These stories and more coming in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. Several foreign missions in Juba have condemned the looting of 12 World Food Program boats in Ballet County, warning that the theft jeopardizes food security for approximately 73,000 people. In a statement released this morning, the embassies of Canada, France, Germany, Japan, the Netherlands, Norway, the United Kingdom, and the United States, as well as the delegation of the European Union, said the convoy carried over 1,500 metric tons of food intended to feed vulnerable communities. The statement partially said, and I quote, "We urge the transitional government to take prompt action to recover the food as well as other resources stolen from implementers that were both our country's taxpayers' funding for humanitarian assistance in South Sudan should achieve the greatest possible life-saving impact." The diplomatic missions emphasized that attacks on humanitarian and medical facilities are entirely unacceptable and called on South Sudan's leaders of all parties and levels to ensure the unhindered delivery of assistance to people enduring famine, malnutrition, and conflict-driven displacement. Save the Children South Sudan has reported that armed gangs have looted and razed its office and a local health center in Walgak Payam of Akobo County in Jonglei State amid a surge in violence that has displaced over 235,000 people in just 4 weeks. In a statement released by the organization yesterday, this report came days after the Save the Children suspended all operations in Walgak in Akobo County, where it pulled 30 staff out of the area after its field office was burned to the ground and its primary health care center destroyed. The destruction has cut off essential services for hundreds of families and follows the seizure of 4 agency vehicles last week. While no staff injuries were reported, the number of civilians fleeing the conflict continues to rise daily. Conflict has escalated across South Sudan since late December, particularly in Jonglei, one of the nation's most food insecure regions. The United Nations warns that the violence is worsening hunger and exacerbating a cholera outbreak that has already overwhelmed treatment centers. Chris Nyamandi, Save the Children's country director, said the security situation continues to deteriorate despite engagement with local authorities. He said, and I quote, "We have had no choice but to indefinitely suspend our operations in Walgak following repeated attacks. When 8 facilities are attacked, it's civilians, especially children, who suffer the consequences. These actions are unacceptable and must stop," end quote. Save the Children is calling on all parties to the conflict to cease attacks on humanitarian infrastructure and uphold international law. The organization maintains that safe, unhindered access must be guaranteed to prevent further suffering among vulnerable communities. Members of the public have raised concerns over the registration of pupils for the 2026 academic year, citing unpaid civil servant salaries and a shortage of cash in commercial banks. The concerns come as the Minister of General Education and Instruction announced the reopening of schools for the academic year from 2nd of February to 18th December 2026. Parents and guardians say financial constraints have made it difficult to meet the school registration and fee requirements, particularly as many civil servants have yet to receive their salaries and banks continue to experience liquidity challenges. Some of the concerns were shared during the Dawn Show this morning, where members of the public expressed frustration over the situation.
In the Bruce Bank, cash market. So, Minister Education in the reality is release medals. Umana request a coma to central bank among the release Bruce and the private bank. So, I just really say the country. But I can at least Minister Education to not push. The can be a bigger use to correct them go ahead to believe and then they push it to use for a band of Queen. I can also exist schools can be Gurus itagira the bank agale cash mass central bank mind the gurus to get expect the under background na to gurus. The private school is there akuma can regulate school fees je kalima muluka no biga de kama deal civilian. Itagira no form le wala interview the kanenda talata harba ya mana mass jena ni gaga. Nada sino baginde kulu begibo mus. The problem, I don't know, or it is all across South Sudan, I don't know. School was reopening field too, but there is no children I used to see are going to school. I don't know how the school are going to be functioned this year because all the parents are affected by financial problems. So now everybody is, just crying about the school fees. Just, I don't know, many children are not going to start this year.
زي ما وريتكم يا ولا لحد الان ما في اي تحرك بتاع طلاب في الشوارع انا ما شايفه ويوقع تقعد جرس كلاس وفتح كلاس ده دليل انه يعني ما في ناس في بلد وناس ما قادرين يناقشوا فوقه وما في اي مخرج بتاع اي قروش الناس بيقدر يحصل عليه بعد ده وكمان انا سمعت قال وزير الماليه اجاز الميزانيه بتاع السنه الجديد بعد تاخير وقال زمن كثير في البرلمان هناك في الجلسه أنا ما أعرف قاعدين بيجهزوا ده هل قروش فيه أو جهزوه ولا جهزوه بس كده تقديريا لحد ما يجي قروش يقوم يوظفوه يقوم يتركوه ناس أنا ما أعرف ودارين قروش ودارين بلدنا يمشي قدام لبعض البلاد بتاعنا فنتمنى إنه كل المسؤولين بتاعنا يساعدونا يعرفوا صوت بتشابه البكور لو كل يوم ليل نهار عشان ما هم يقدروا يعيشوا ويعاموا بإطمئنان.
Meanwhile, the National Minister of General Education and Instruction has acknowledged that less than half of the nearly 90,000 pupils who completed primary school last year will enroll in secondary school this year, citing major challenges in access to education. Dr. Kuyok Abol Kuyok said only about 45% of primary school graduates are expected to secure secondary school placements, leaving thousands unable to continue to the next level. He said many of those who fail to enroll will also miss secondary school examinations because they cannot access schools accredited to register candidates for national exams. According to the minister, the situation is driven by a shortage of secondary schools, especially in rural areas, limited classroom space, and a lack of trained teachers. He added that poverty, early marriage, insecurity, and displacement continue to push many learners, particularly girls, orphans, and children affected by conflict out of school before reaching the examination stage.
Therefore, although we are attaining gender parity in basic education, only 18% of girls that started school this term, will complete the 12-year compulsory education program. This suggests that many bright and capable students, especially orphans, girls, children affected by conflict, and those from poor households have been forced to drop out at secondary level, not because they lack ability, but because they lack means. I am pleased to report that this program will directly address the imbalance, factor, as we say in this.
Authorities in Kapoita South County in eastern Equatorial State have launched a security operation in Lowarang to investigate the robbery of a community action for relief and development vehicle along the Kapoita Camp 15 road. That's according to a statement posted on the official page of the county commissioner. The operation, led by the county commissioner, the county director and the commissioner of police, aims to recover assets stolen yesterday, including $400, 250,000 South Sudan pounds, 3 laptops, 6 smartphones, 1 GPS device, and 6 bags of personal items. Authorities have warned local residents to remain vigilant while the operation is ongoing and have vowed to pursue the suspect to ensure the stolen items are recovered. The identity of the bandits remains unknown. This is RD News, and now to the international scene. Here is Helen Samuel.
Making headlines on the international arena, the US has backed the UK's deal to hand over the Chagos Islands to Mauritius and lease back a key military base. On Thursday, Donald Trump signaled his approval for the move, describing Sir Keir Starmer's agreement as the best he could make. It comes just a few weeks after the US president prompted fears in Whitehall that he would withdraw his support after he branded the deal an act of great stupidity. Trump's comments led to additional talks between officials to confirm continued American support for the agreement, which will impact the future of a joint UK-US airbase. Elsewhere, a high-profile general in Russia's military has been shot several times and wounded in Moscow. Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev was immediately taken to hospital after the attack in a residential building on the northwestern outskirts of the city, and his condition is unknown. Alexeyev is a top official in the main directorate of Russia's military general staff, GRU, and was placed under European Union sanctions after the GRU was accused of being behind a 2018 nav agent attack in Salisbury in the UK. And finally, Canada is set to open its first diplomatic outpost in Greenland in a significant show of solidarity following US President Donald Trump's threats to take control of the territory. A delegation of senior Canadian officials, including Governor General Mary Simon and Foreign Minister Anita Anand, are traveling to Nuuk on Friday to formally open Canada's consulate, accompanied by a Canadian Coast Guard ship. Their visit comes amid a similar trip made by French officials who are due to open their own consulate in the territory the same day. The Canadian and foreign missions are a historic expansion of foreign engagement in Greenland. That's all I have in the international news. Back to you now.
Thank you, Helen Samuel. This is iReady News, and now to the world of sport. Here is Darlington Moses.
Thank you so much, Lasuba Memo. In the world of sport, we're starting with hot news. In a closely contested South Sudan Premier League clash on Thursday, the 5th of February 2026, Bentiu City SC and Atlabara FC played out a 1-1 draw, leaving both teams with work to do in the fight for survival and mid-table positioning. Bentiu City, struggling near the bottom of the table, showed flashes of attacking intent but were unable to capitalize fully, while Atlabara FC fought hard to maintain their mid-table standing. The result keeps Atlabara safely in the middle of the pack, but does not little to move the needle for Bentiu City, who remain in the relegation zone. The draw continues a mixed round of form for both sides, and with the Premier League season entering its crucial phase, every point counts as teams jolted for survival and positioning ahead of the final rounds. Today, Thursday, 6 February 2026, Lion Hunters will host Jammus SSC at 6:30 in a crucial South Sudan Premier League clash, with the defending champions Jammus SC looking to close the gap on league table Almeric leaders, while bottom place Lion Hunters will be desperate to secure a rare victory. The Premier League title race remains finally poised as the top four clubs prepare for a crucial weekend of fixtures that could shape the season's direction. League leaders Arsenal head into Saturday's match against Sunderland, looking to maintain their advantage at the top. The Gunners, fresh off convincing 4-0 win at Leeds that boosted their title credentials, will be keen to build momentum and keep pressure on their closest challengers. Second place Manchester City face a stern test this weekend as they travel to Anfield to play Liverpool on Sunday. City have shown moments of inconsistency recently, including a 2-2 draw with Tottenham, and will be eager to reaffirm their title's credentials before the league reaches the business end of the season. Aston Villa, sitting just a point behind City, will look to stay in the title hunt when they visit AFC Bournemouth on Saturday. Villa's attacking threat will be key as Unai Emery's side aims to close the gap on the top two and happy pressure before a run of freaky and tricky fixtures later in the month. Fourth place Manchester United continue their pursuit of European qualifications with a pivotal home game against Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday. United arrived in good form and will be hoping to extend their unbeaten run in 2026 and keep their Champions League hopes alive this time around. This is all in the world of sport, and back to you, Lasuba Memo.
Thank you, Darlington Moses. This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. Several foreign missions in Juba have condemned the looting of 12 World Food Program boats in Balliet County, warning that the theft jeopardizes food security for approximately 73,000 people. Save the Children South Sudan has reported that armed gangs have looted and razed and Save the Children office and a local health center in Walgett, Payam of Akobo County in Jonglei State amid a surge in violence that has displaced over 235,000 people in just 4 weeks. And members of the public have raised concerns over the registration of pupils for the 2026 academic year, citing unpaid civil servants' salaries and a shortage of cash in commercial banks. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Lasuba Memo. Thank you for listening.